WFH with two guys. Now here's Benny and Dennis.
A mainstay in business for me has been networking. Networking got me the opportunity to do so many things. Dennis, I don't even know if you know this, my networking got me an opportunity to meet you. So without that, I wouldn't have the business that I have today.
Yeah, for me, when I started the business 13 years ago, there was a group here in Nashville called Southeast Business Forum. That's how I got really started on networking on the sales side, and it truly helped take my business to the next level. And many of those people that I met 13 years ago, I still network and connect with and keep those relationships going. And the key thing about networking, it's that word relationship, because you're developing a trust between each other, and then you're also trusting that that person's going to represent you to connect to others, but you're representing them on their behalf to that potential lead as well.
One of the best networkers that I know is my partner here, Dennis Jackson. And Dennis had suggested that we bring on Dave Ford, who's a partner with Bottom Line Consortium. And the two of them have created a unique approach to networking. They have not only taken the traditional idea of networking and really kind of turned it on its ear. And I think this is a really fascinating conversation. Hopefully you guys will pick up a couple tips and tricks here and maybe be able to use this and incorporate it into your networking. I think this is a really great conversation. I don't know how long everyone out there has been in business, but a mainstay to help grow our businesses involves some sort of networking. Now, I don't care if you have a retail store or if you're running a consultancy or you have some type of business. People need to know that you have a product that's available or a service that's available to in the market. And the best way that I've been able to do that, Dennis, has always been about just getting the word out and doing some networking.
Yeah. I mean, I look back when I started the business 13 years ago, networking is so important. And before I started my business, I was on the purchasing side, and I had a good network of people that were selling to me, but I'd never been on the selling side. And this works both ways. So if you're a buyer or a seller, networking is key to developing relationships. And it's important to understand with networking, there's a lot of people that just like to take, but the key is to be a giver and a taker in that process, because you're out there, everybody, the same people you're meeting are trying to meet people as well, just like you are. And so it's important to get to know those people. So today we've got Dave Ford joining us, and Dave owns a company, or has a company of his own, but he also is, I'm going to call, one of the kings of networking that I know here in the Nashville market.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. Yep, nice to be back.
So Dave, talk a little bit about networking and what has it meant for you personally, maybe your business. What does networking look like
and it's evolved over time. That's a great question, Benny, because networking, you were supposed to get people who were ready to represent you in the marketplace. And that's really a challenging one, to take the time to get somebody up to speed on who you are, what you do, how it works. And instead, if you flip that and say, how can I make introductions for you based on my current and existing relationships? And we built a model called Good People. And Dennis and I have been in this process for about 3 years now. And we have approximately 12 people who join us on a monthly basis. And there's a lot, I won't say a lot, there's preparation that's required prior to showing up for the meeting. You take a look at the other 11 individuals' LinkedIn, and I use Sales Navigator as my tool. And I ask each of them for about 2 or 3 introductions based off of folks that I'm interested in meeting. It could be personal, it could be professional. And I've just thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to broaden my reach, not only here in the Nashville area, but one of the things we've learned to do is find people outside of this area, Chicago, Atlanta, East Coast, West Coast. And I think that's key, because that really gets your message out there, where if you're just networking locally, it's the same old people, it's the same old results.
Yeah, and the big difference too is, and I call it reverse networking, because if you go to a typical networking event, there's 40 or 50 people there, you're milling around, you're talking to them, you're hoping in 5-10 minutes you can make some kind of idea what they do, what do you do. You may hand them a business card, and then you pray that they're going to do an introduction for you. And some do, but many don't. Or they'll remember you for a week or two, and then after that, you're out of thought because they haven't connected with you. There's no further relationships or whatever. Reverse networking is different. Like Dave said, we use Sales Navigator or LinkedIn. You have criteria set up, and you're researching those people, and you're asking. So in my case, I'll have, I'm looking for businesses that are under 200 people, do business in Alabama and Georgia, and they're in manufacturing. And I'll pull that up, and then I'll put Benny's name in, and it'll come back and says Benny knows 4 people that meet that criteria. I'll then ask Benny then in a nice way, either in person or through an email, and say, hey, Benny, it looks like you know 1 or 2 of these people. Can you do just a general introduction for me? And ask for, just an email introduction. And our email introductions are very simplistic. Mine is, I like to meet good people when it makes sense. I like to connect other good people to good people. You guys fit the criteria. You ought to take 15 minutes and get to know each other. That's it. I don't tell them what you do, why you do it. And I'd say 99% of the people will take the connection. Some of them turn out great, some of them don't, and that's fine. When I ask Benny, does he know those people, there's a good chance that he's going to say, this one, I don't know. In my case, some of them are dead as I'm getting older. But, it's like, I don't know him real well. That's also an opportunity for you to have a reconnection with those people to kick off the conversation. So I might say to Benny, hey, talk to him for a week or 2 and then introduce me after you've kind of reconnected with him. Are there some that's like you'll come back and Dave will say, you don't like this, I don't like this person. You don't want to sell to them. They're not going to buy your product. And it's fine. Then just mark them off and move on. And it works like clockwork.
So Dennis, you and I had a great example of that experience just last fall. A gentleman you used to work with at Healthways, one of your previous employers, had moved on and moved to the Midwest. I asked Dennis for a connection, and at the same time, when Dennis connected us, he goes, hey, let's you and I reconnect. So both Dennis and I were able to get a business opportunity out of it. And I think that's the real value of this relationship. Not only are you connecting for the benefit of others, a lot of times you're reconnecting for yourself. And that pays dividends time and time again because they want to reconnect. Hey, how have you been? What are you doing? How's your business? And again, very professional, well done, both at a standpoint of time. It takes less than 15 minutes. It's usually a conversation. And then it leads to either some additional opportunities or, you know what, that's just not going to work out. And thank you for the introduction.
I have to say, with listening to both of you all kind of describe what you're talking about, it really, in my mind, the way I'm envisioning it, really takes networking to more of an active type of role, right? I think a lot of people view networking, even though there's effort that have to be put into it, it's a passive type of thing. I'm going to go there and network, and all of these leads and people are going to see how wonderful I am, and they're going to naturally contact me because I've got this particular charisma and product or whatever it happens to be. And that's not the case. I mean, Dennis, like you said, sometimes we network these people, have these intense conversations, and a couple months later, you forget their names,
right.
Much less try to remember their business. Yeah. So
yeah, and the process that we talk about, I use it every Friday. Then I look at who are all the people that I met with during the week, and then not every one of them, but I'll take 2 or 3 and send an email back and thank them for taking time this week, and then I'll say, hey, it looks like Bob Smith and Mary Jones at these companies. Could you do a basic email introduction? And oh, by the way, here's a sample email introduction that you might want to use, and I put it in there. That's a great way. So it's kind of the next stage of networking with people that you've met in a non-networking environment. But everyone you meet is a potential way to grow your network and expand your reach. And many times it's not people I'm trying to sell to, but it's people in either like industries or consultants that allow me to kind of crisscross, because again, I'm trying to meet one person that knows lots of people. And so it allows me then to expand that relationship. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes they'll say, no, I won't do it. And that's fine. You just move on. And it's a numbers game. Dave commented, when we meet once a month in this format. There's anywhere between 10 to 12 of us. So in theory, it's you and 11 other people, I always say, think about 2 per that you're going to ask for. In theory, you could ask for 22 introductions. Probably a little too many. I always come with usually 3 to 5, knowing that out of that 3 to 5, I'll get 2 to 3, because you got to meet with these people. At some point, they're going to do the email introductions, and you got to follow up, and you got to schedule. So you got to be careful with your time, because you can be a full-time networker and not make any money if you're not careful.
So I'd like to play into a comment you previously made, Benny. This is very intentional. It isn't a haphazard event, and I use it, I won't say on a daily basis, but at least 2 to 3 times a week. I go back into the tool that Dennis has developed for us. I look at who's been active, who's looking for an introduction, make those introductions, plus I then go back to not only the current members, but our alumni, and see if they've added someone that I have an interest in meeting. There's a gentleman by the name of Cole Crocker, and Cole has been with us now for about a year. I get at least 1 to 2 introductions from him per week. That's how intentional Cole is. And it's a mutual one, because we'll go back and forth and we'll give each other feedback. Hey, how was that introduction? Is that still in the wheelhouse that you're looking to be get introductions from? So I have found that this is a rewarding tool, because it allows me to get updates into my straight to my email from the system. Hey, so and so is looking for an introduction, and then I can go on LinkedIn if I don't remember that person and refresh myself, or if I do, I immediately do an email. And I also want to highlight that some people have asked if they can do a LinkedIn invitation. That doesn't work near as well as a personal email, and I think that's critical that we set that expectation, because people sometimes use that LinkedIn and it just doesn't get the results. And as Dennis earlier said, sometimes it's a personal introduction. That's even better. So this is a very intentional process, and if you use it properly, it pays dividends on a weekly basis, because of the interactions that you're having, not only with the people you're being introduced to, but the folks who are either current or alumni.
Dennis and I have known each other for a couple decades now. And so, and the fact that I get to do this podcast with Dennis is he's top of the mind on a lot of things. But one of the things I have to admit, Dennis does an amazing job of. I'll get these email introductions just because, like, Dennis will introduce me to some people. I've met some amazing people this way. I have to tell you that it's a lot of fun. And recently, just from the interaction we have, I got Dennis into an account, and we're going to potentially work this account together. It's just amazing how when you keep this type of activity going, there are opportunities that kind of are self-fulfilling, and there's an obligation that you create. If someone is so generous enough and they're giving you these introductions to people that like, respect, and trust, what does that mean? Gosh, wow. Yeah, I want to do the same for them, right? It's an amazing type of symbiotic relationship you create.
Yeah, and I mean, and it doesn't matter if it's the traditional networking or the reverse networking, as I call it. You still got to develop the relationships, because there will be people that are in our group. If I don't know them well, I'll do the introduction. But if that person that I'm introducing to calls and says, "Hey, do you know them well?" I'm going to be honest with them and say, "Hey, I'm in a group with them, but I don't know them well, and I need feedback from you about that person." Or I try to have coffee with everybody in our group just to get to know them and make sure that I like them, because, again, Dave hit it on the head earlier, that networking is an extension of you. So when I'm introducing someone out in the marketplace, I'm kind of putting the Dennis Jackson stamp on them that they've got my approval, that you ought to meet with them. And if they're not trustworthy, not worthy of my stamp, I won't introduce them. And there's several people in the traditional networking that have asked for introductions, and I just won't do it because I don't like them as a person. So it's like, if I don't like you, how can I introduce you and connect you with people in my network?
Yeah, another fascinating part about this process is the time that we spend getting people up to speed for that first meeting. So we take time, walk them through an example in LinkedIn using Sales Navigator, help them understand how the tool can be a benefit to them as they're looking for introductions. help them understand the tool that Dennis has developed so that they see the process and how it works. And then also gain a commitment from them. We give them 3 dates for the next quarter and say, we will include you in these. These are 3 dates that you need to commit to us for. And it's important because you don't want to have an empty seat. You want to take those seats, make sure that the people are committed and will be engaged from the get-go. And I think that's invaluable because, one, it says they're going to take the time, we're going to take the time, and mutually we're going to make this process work.
So when you guys are putting this group together, and I'm just kind of thinking through this, there's got to be a focus in terms of the type of people who are going to participate in this type of group, right? And the industries probably should have some type of parallel or some type of overlap in there. How do you guys go about doing that? Is there a formula, or is there anything specific that you look at?
Yeah, so I'll jump in, and Dave, I know we're going to say the same thing at the end here. The first piece is, it's not like traditional networking where you try to make sure you don't have other people in the same industry competing, because we don't really care that if you're a financial advisor and a financial advisor, they can be in the same room because it's their job to do the research of who they want to be introduced to. So that's one difference. The other piece is we look to try to see, are they types of people that are probably connected to other people? Is networking kind of in their blood? We found a group that is not usually good. That Dave and I try to not invite these type. And no offense to if you're a banker listening, bankers who should have really good networks typically come to the meeting once and then never come back. And so we've invited 3 or 4, and doesn't mean we won't invite a banker, but we typically ask ourselves why before we're going to connect one, which is sad because bankers should know lots of different people and should be wanting to connect and help grow those businesses, but it doesn't seem to work that way. No offense, bankers.
Yeah, I could build on that further because, Benny, you asked a great question. It's not just who we know. It's as people get engaged with good people, we ask them for people who should be a part of the process as they roll off. So we, again, very intentionally ask, who are others that would benefit from being a part of good people? And we're always amazed at the quality of individuals that they recommend. They also understand that they have to train that individual to be productive from meeting number 1. And I think that's key because by them suggesting and recommending someone, they're also saying, I am going to take the time to mentor and train this person so that when they show up to the first meeting, they're prepared, they've got requests, and they also know how to make the introductions for the other 11 members that are in the room. And that's worked exceptionally well, as I said, because we're not just focusing on an industry or a vertical, and we're not focused on just the, let's say, the Nashville, Middle Tennessee market. We're now, I don't want to say nationwide, but we're pretty diverse in the folks that get invited to good people with regards to where they are geographically.
And the other piece, Benny, when we started this 3 years ago, it was Dave, myself, and Tyler. And we did it for 3 or 4 months with just the 3 of us. And that's when we realized that we had to bring in new people periodically because we were running out of, we all 3 knew each other's network and stuff. And so it was like, okay, you can't use this process more. And so that's when we came up on this concept of someone gets to come in for 3 months because it allows them to learn the process and develop the habits. And then they graduate, but they stay part of the group. So when we started, it was 3. Now we're up to about 48 that have been through the process. And so that number just keeps growing. And so you can apply the concept to people that you haven't even met yet, in theory. But ideally, and then we have twice a year, we have social get-togethers. I call it the more traditional networking, where you're face-to-face and you can connect with those people in the more traditional way. And it's more about just getting to know each other. It's not asking for leads on that particular introductions or that meetings. It's more just to touch base with people you haven't seen in a while or meet new people that are in the group that you haven't met before. And so it's worked really, really well for how we do this. And, I think I've shared it with lots of people, and it's something most people don't think about. They think of networking more that traditional networking way, not the good people reverse networking concept that we have put together. In my case, I still do traditional networking 1 or 2 times a month, but most of my time is spent on the good people approach. And it really is how I connect and get to know new people, to share about what I do at works and that kind of thing. So that's why we just want to share this concept with our listeners, because I think a lot of people don't either understand networking as a whole or don't do the way the good people approach, which I think is just so much more beneficial and helps people connect with people.
A soft benefit that came out from this for me personally was I cleaned up my LinkedIn. I had thousands of link people would continue to ask for an introduction, and I went, gee, I'm really not sure about that. Then I'd go back in and then make sure it was someone that I still wanted to have on my LinkedIn, and or it was time to remove them. And removing someone from LinkedIn is such an easy process, and it's one that I suggest more and more people do on an ongoing basis to keep your LinkedIn profile relevant. And it also keeps you in touch. As it's interesting, I deleted close to 1,000 over the last year, and I've only had 2 reach back out and say, "Hey, want to connect with you." Great. That just said that there was still an opportunity, but having cleaned that up, and especially Dennis and I, as we're aging here, there's a lot of people who have retired, and they don't want to be contacted. So it's great then during that process to wish them well. So again, byproduct from me was just having that wonderful opportunity to clean up my LinkedIn.
Dave, this has been a wonderful conversation, and I always like to get insight into different ways to be able to grow our businesses. Dave, what's the best way if someone wants to get a hold of you? Maybe they want to talk to you about networking. Maybe they want to talk to get to know you a little bit more about what you do. What's the best way for them to get in touch
Thank you,
with you?
and appreciate the opportunity. You guys run a great series, and I hope more and more people will take the opportunity to listen in. I can be reached easily at dave@blcedge.net. I'm a partner there. I've been a partner now for 16 years. Dennis was talking about his business is 13 years old. We started with the Great Recession in 2008. So what a run we've had. And also I'm a Navy veteran, and very proud to be a part of an organization here in town called Operation Stand Down Tennessee. And it's a great community that really brings together the veterans and connects them. So got a heart for that, and still enjoying the business. Bottom line, we help our clients optimize their software licensing spend. That's a real challenging environment these days. So, gentlemen, thank you for your time and allowing me to be a part of the program today.
Well, Dennis, that's another podcast in the can. I know that a lot of you all want to know how to get in touch with us. Dennis, what's the best way for folks to be able to get a hold of you?
Yeah, email's by far the best for me. It's Dennis J, so DENNISJ @worksolution.com, and that's WORX solution, no S at the end, so solution.com. Benny, how about you?
Yeah, same thing. Get a hold of me. My email address is benny@velocitytechnology.group. That's BENNY @velocitytechnology.group. Also, for me and Dennis, you can find us on LinkedIn. Look for us on LinkedIn. Our Work From Home with Two Guys is on LinkedIn. And we also have a website, WFH2guys.com. Look us up. You'll find all the past episodes and some little bits of information that maybe we don't get a chance to talk to on the podcast. We put it out there too as well.
And definitely share us with your friends and people in your network.
Absolutely. Let us know what we can do to make this podcast your podcast. Give us some ideas. And if you'd like to be a guest, let us know. We'll talk to you guys soon.
You've been listening to WFH with Two Guys. We'll see you next time.